The first bell had barely finished ringing when the doors of Eastwood High's assembly hall opened and a hush fell over the room. Students slouched on benches, scrolling through their phones, whispering jokes, waiting for the morning roll call. Everyone was curious about the new teacher. Rumors had already begun swirling. She was too young, too strict, too mysterious. Nobody actually knew her, but they were ready to test her. She walked in slowly, carrying a single notebook. Her name was Mrs. Noor, a tall, composed woman with dark eyes that seemed to see through every mask. She smiled politely, but there was something in her posture, straight back, measured steps, that set her apart. She greeted the students, her voice soft yet steady, and began calling names. In the back row, 3 boys, Zain, Ferhat, and Hamza, whispered and snickered. They were known troublemakers, children of wealthy families, convinced the school revolved around them. As Mrs. Noor turned her back to write attendance notes, the boys exchanged a glance. In one quick movement, Zain grabbed at her shirt, pulling at the sleeve while the other 2 snatched at the hem. A small tear ripped down the fabric. Gasps erupted from the students. Some laughed nervously, others looked away. Mrs. Noor froze. For a second, her eyes closed. The hall went silent. Everyone expected her to shout, cry, or call for the principal. Instead, she turned around, completely calm, and faced the boys. Her shirt was torn, but her dignity was untouched. "Stand up," she said quietly. Her voice was low, but it cut through the air like a blade. The boys hesitated, but something in her tone left no room for disobedience. They rose slowly, their bravado faltering. "You think you know who I am?" she asked. "You think you can humiliate me and walk away?" No one spoke. "I know exactly who you are," she continued. "But you know nothing about me." She walked closer, her eyes steady on them. "When I was your age, I had to work 3 jobs to help my family. I joined the military to pay for my education. I've been in places where disrespect was the least dangerous thing around. I have seen fear, real fear, and I can tell you're already feeling it now." A ripple went through the room. Even the teachers watching from the door were stunned. But Mrs. Noor didn't shout. She didn't threaten. Instead, she told a story. She spoke of growing up in a tough neighborhood, being bullied for her accent and clothes, learning self-defense, and later training young recruits to handle pressure. She described how cruelty, left unchecked, destroys the one who wields it just as much as the one who suffers from it. Her words weren't rehearsed, they were raw, real, heavy with experience. The boys, who had started the day feeling untouchable, now stood frozen, eyes wide. The other students leaned forward, hanging on every word. Then she asked a single question: "Is this who you want to be?" Zain swallowed hard. Ferhat looked at the floor. Hamza's lips trembled. The silence in the hall became unbearable. Finally, Zain muttered, "No, Mom." Mrs. Noor nodded. "Then start over. Right now. Apologize, not just to me, but to every student who watched you try to make cruelty look like strength." It wasn't a demand, it was an invitation. One by one, the boys spoke, their voices cracking, apologies spilling out clumsily. They offered to repair or replace her shirt, to stay after school to help clean the hall, to do anything to make it right. Mrs. Noor placed a hand on the torn fabric and smiled gently. "What's torn can be mended. But it takes effort." The rest of the day was different. The boys, embarrassed yet strangely relieved, stayed back after class. Mrs. Noor didn't punish them with detention. Instead, she had them assist with organizing the library, where she talked to them, not as a victim, but as a mentor. She taught them about empathy, leadership, and how courage means standing up for what's right, not tearing someone down. Over the following weeks, the transformation was visible. Zain stopped mocking weaker students. Ferhat joined the debate club. Hamza apologized to classmates he had bullied. Their friends teased him at first, but gradually began to follow their example. By the end of the term, the 3 boys were volunteering at community events Mrs. Noor organized. They learned humility through action, and their reputations shifted from troublemakers to helpers. The story spread through the school. Students began calling Mrs. Noor not just teacher, but mentor. She had turned a moment of humiliation into a lesson in respect and self-discovery. And one morning, months later, at roll call, Zane stood up voluntarily. "Mom," he said, "we're planning a fundraiser for new uniforms. Would you help us lead it?" Mrs. Noor's eyes softened. "I'd be honored." The hall erupted in applause. The same place that had once been filled with cruelty now echoed with gratitude. Challenges faced. Mrs. Noor confronting public humiliation without losing dignity. The boys confronting their own arrogance and fear of change. The struggle to earn genuine respect instead of demanding it. Resolution. Through patience, courage, and empathy, Mrs. Noor transformed a moment of bullying into a lifelong lesson. The boys learned to rebuild their character and became advocates for kindness. Inspiring message. Real strength isn't in tearing others down, it's in lifting them, and yourself, up. A single moment of compassion and courage can rewrite the story for everyone involved.